If you have done adulting for a while now, don't you wish that finance for adults was an actual module in school? Because guys, how crazy is it that we come into adulthood or into our first jobs completely clueless about money, but yet we are expected to know exactly what to do when we start earning. We are expected to know how to budget, how to save and to invest, and to, to actually multiply that money. It's really crazy. Today's episode, I thought it would be really important to just share some money tips that I would give to young adults, or pretty much just sharing with you guys what I would tell my younger self. So thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode of Finance Friday. My name is Coach Susan. Really glad to have you here today. So the first tip that I would give to any young adult is educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself. I cannot overemphasize the importance of financial literacy. We've already said that this is not something we were taught in school. They didn't actually make it an actual module. We hope that there's going to come a time that these things are taught to us in school. But as it stands right now, especially in Kenya today, no one actually teaches you how to budget, how to invest, what you need to be on the lookout for. So stop expecting that this thing will actually come naturally to you. Okay, if you are lucky enough, for some of us, we just learn on the job and it works perfectly for us. But majority of us actually have to learn. We go to school for so many things, but it's mind-blowing how many of us do not think that getting financial literacy is an actual thing that you should invest your money and your time into. I've always loved to tell people that investing in education will pay you the best return, right? Because what's the whole point of buying stocks or investing in bonds or trying to figure your way in the financial markets when you don't really have the necessary training and you don't know exactly what you're doing? That is how you lose money. So the first step is to actually educate yourself. Now, something I have always loved to say is that I've noticed that our generation today, we live in an interesting time where people actually prioritize entertainment over education. And it's one of the reasons why we really don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with our money. We don't know what to do with our time. We just want quick fixes. We want to come into people's DMs or emails and really just ask them, where should I invest my money? And I've always told people I have such a hard time answering this question, because if I'm biased towards SACCOs, I'll tell you to do SACCOs. Or if I'm biased to do stocks, I'll probably tell you to do stocks. But what do you want? What works for you? What are your financial goals? What do you know about what you're interested in investing in? So please prioritize education over entertainment. That is actually what is going to set you apart. Take charge. Take charge of your own money finance, your own money situation, and arm yourself with knowledge. Because if you don't learn how to manage your money, I kid you not, things and people will kind of like manage your money for you. So that's the first and the most important tip. Educate yourself. Get financial books and read. Get personal finance coaches like myself to walk you through setting up a budget and what exactly you need to be on the lookout for. So education is the most important thing. The second money tip that I would give to a young adult is to actually know where your money is going. Guys, we work so damn hard for our money. We put in hours, we stand bosses we hate, we beat traffic in Nairobi every day to just earn this money. I mean, what I'm just trying to say is that we do the absolute most to earn our money. But then it's so interesting that we pay little attention to how we spend the money that we've worked so hard to make. It's amazing. Okay? So know where your money is going. You need to have a budget. Do you actually have a written budget, whether that's on your notebook, on a phone app, the budget, maybe an Excel sheet? Do you actually know where your money is going? How much goes to entertainment? How much do you spend on personal care and grooming? How much goes into eating out, ordering in? How much of your money is going to savings? How much do you have to maybe dedicate towards your long-term financial goals or even just debt repayment? Do you know where your money is going? Do you actually know where your money is going. The only way you can do that is have an actual budget, track where your money is going, and you want to do it so regularly so that you can be able to identify maybe the loopholes that are in your finances. That's why you want to check on your budget and track regularly so that you can adjust accordingly. Tracking is very frustrating for most of my clients. It's one of the things we do when you come to my budgeting class. I actually ask you to budget where your money is going. And most of my clients get to that frustrating point where they're like, oh my goodness, I actually do not know where my money is going. So we want to actually keep doing it consistently. And why it is frustrating is because the more you track your money, the more you realize, wow, I am actually messing this thing up. What have I been doing? But that's important. It is important to see how things have been so that you can identify how you would like them to be. So you want to track regularly so that you can adjust accordingly and slowly by slowly keep closing those loopholes for a healthier financial journey. All right. The third money tip is to live below your means. I don't think I need to really overemphasize on how important this is. We've already said, if you spend all the money that you make, then you don't have any money left to either save, invest, achieve your financial goals, get out of debt, or really just grow and develop yourself or multiply the money that you already have. All right. There are three most important things when it comes to your journey to financial freedom. You want to be able to make money. You want to be able to keep some of the money that you're making. And most importantly, for you to become wealthy, you must multiply the money that you're keeping. All right. But where are we going to get money to multiply? If we are spending, if I earn 100,000 and I spend the entire 100K, I don't have anything left to do, or rather to use or to direct towards growth. Okay, so obviously living below your means, it needs self-control. It needs for us to understand the concept of delayed gratification. Okay, most of us are really struggling with impulse buying and impulse spending, because when I want something, I want it now, right now. It's the microwave generation, right? But when you have being able to practice delayed gratification is where you start embracing the place of sinking funds, for instance, which are just savings accounts that help you to save for your short-term goals, like buying that new laptop or getting yourself an Apple phone or traveling to Dubai. You see, when you have practiced delayed gratification, you understand that just because I don't have this thing right now, I won't die. It's not food, it's not shelter, it's not healthcare, it's luxury. And this is one of the things I tell people: you need to come up with a needs and a wants list. Needs are things that can absolutely not be ignored in terms of being bought or paid for. But then wants are things that we can do without for a while. So as a young adult, you want to start practicing that early, because lifestyle creep will really have you on a chokehold. You know what that is? Lifestyle creep is when the more money you earn, the more you actually spend, the more your tastes and your standards go high. So if you don't nip it at the bud right now, when you're young, when you're just starting, it's no longer going to be the Apple watches or, living in this house that you cannot afford. It's now going to graduate to competing with your friends about which schools your child goes to. It's going to become competing on which cars we are buying and all that. So just keep your expenses on the down low and live within your means, regardless of what everyone else thinks. Because remember, guys, the goal is to actually be wealthy in the long term, not just to look wealthy. Because what's the point of looking wealthy if I look at you with regards to how you're dressed, the gadgets that you carry, the handbags, the shoes, or whatever it is that you do with your money? What's the whole point of looking wealthy? But when I come to your bank accounts, guys, embarrassment. Yeah, we have no savings, we are in debt, we are trying to keep up with the Jonases. Listen, the goal is to actually be wealthy, not to look wealthy. All right. The fourth money tip is to stay out of debt. And generally what we are trying to achieve, or rather stay out of bad debt. Okay, what we are trying to achieve is this: that if I can't afford it, I don't buy it, unless it is something that is helping me to either increase my income or help me build wealth. There's a very big difference. Not all debt is bad, guys. We have good debt and we have bad debt. Bad debt is actually debt that we call consumer debt. This is money that you're spending to supplement your budget, or you're taking out to supplement your budget because you did not budget. You didn't plan very well. And so before your next income comes in or your salary, you are spent. You are at a deficit, okay? Or maybe money that you're taking out to just kind of like do things that will not give you a return. We want to avoid that debt, okay? You want to avoid that debt because it is frustrating. It is hell for most of people, and you don't realize it until you're drowning in it. If you're already there, I have a video that I've talked about debt repayment strategies. I'm going to link it down in the description box below, just so that you can check it out and understand or just get some tips on how to get out of debt. So bad debt is what we want to avoid. Now, what do you do about good debt? Learn strategies on how you can leverage on good debt, just so that you can be able to build well. So here is looking at maybe facilities that you can get to access some money, either to expand your business or to invest or to get into some deals that will eventually ensure that you've created an additional income source, or you're building wealth or gaining assets that will overall form your net worth in the long term. So we want to avoid bad debt and to learn how to leverage on good debt to increase our income or our wealth in the long term, okay? The fifth tip that I would give any young adult is to learn how to pay yourself first before spending on anything else. What does that mean? That the moment my income comes in, the moment my salary comes in, I want to prioritize my savings and investments accounts before I prioritize anything else. What does paying myself first mean? Paying myself first means investing into the future Susan. And how do I do that? I do that by putting money into her emergency fund accounts, putting money into her sinking funds, putting money into her passive investment options, paying off her debt. So when the money comes in, before I think, oh, I need to buy this, oh, I need to do this, or I need to access this thing, you want to prioritize paying the person who is putting the actual hours, because if you don't pay into your own future, that's ideally what paying yourself first means. If you don't pay into your future, ain't nobody who's going to come and do that for you. You have to do that for yourself. And these are now the money habits that you start developing when you're young, because the moment you get it wrong, it takes a very long time and a lot of effort and money to actually course correct. So if you're already at a place where you're not in crazy debt, maybe you don't have investments, but you're interested in starting a strategy that worked really well for me. I've shared this before here. My first job, I earned 20,000 shillings gross. And I had rent, I had transport, I had so many things. But interestingly, I still managed to be putting 1,000 bob into my circle, and another 1,000 bob into my money market fund. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to plan myself with whatever else is left. So instead of buying lunch, I would carry lunch from home. And you see, even when my salary went up to double that amount, which after confirmation, it got to 40,000 Kenyan shillings, because I'd already inculcated the habit of paying myself first, what happened is that when my income grew, instead of inflating just my lifestyle, I was able to also inflate my savings and investments. So I started doing a bit more into my circle, a bit more into my emergency fund account in my money market fund, and slowly by slowly, the more I've actually been able to earn more, I've inflated my investments and savings, and now I'm into stock market investing, retirement planning, and all that. So if you start practicing with the little that you have, that same behavior is replicated when you earn more. Whatever you do with the 5,000, the 10,000 is exactly how you're going to behave when you earn 500,000. So learn and practice how to pay yourself first as early as right now. Okay? Tip number 6, guys, start planning for retirement as early as right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's pretty much a loan for everything apart from retirement. And it is the one thing that I see young people, young adults, people in their 20s and 30s, we don't take that seriously, because we're just like, this is such a far-fetched idea to you because you're like, no, I'm gonna figure it out when I'm 35 or when I'm 40, or my employer is doing pension or NSSF for me. Now, I hate to break it down to you guys. NSSF is not enough to comfortably retire. Okay, yeah, I said it. It's actually not. Every time someone has come to my class and we are talking retirement, we look at the numbers. If you're being deducted 200 bob or 1080 or 5,000, I need you to look at how much you're spending right now. And it is, I mean, do you now see, guys, why I rave about budgets? Because if I asked you today how much you spend on a monthly basis, then we multiply that by 12 to find how much you spend in a year. Most of us wouldn't be able to get that number accurate because we are not budgeting. We actually don't know. And this is one of the reasons why you can't even plan for your future, because part of retirement planning is looking at your lifestyle right now. How much am I spending? And then kind of like, looking at, okay, in the next, when do I want to retire? 40 years from now, 30 years from now, 20 years from now. If I take into consideration X percentage inflation rate, how much does this lifestyle look like? And how much do I need to start saving right now to achieve 50 million when I retire? And so you want to really take retirement planning seriously, because there was a study that was done by ISPAC. ISPAC is the body that certifies public accountants here in Kenya. That was around 2018. And according to that study, 47% of working people who were working and are now retired in Kenya are actually now dependent on family and relatives. People who had lucrative jobs, people who were CEO, people who were like, or rather they had great positions, either manager level, actors, people that were famous before. And now you look at them and you're wondering, so what did you do with your money? It's because we were busy living paycheck to paycheck and investing in other things other than the one thing that will ensure that we retire comfortably. Okay, so you want to take seriously retirement planning. You want to get your personal pension funds in order. You want to get your long-term investments and your passive income sources in order, so that you want to, because I mean, when you're retired, retirement is not an age, guys. It is a number, because you can still get to retirement and be broke. Okay? So retirement ideally means that I can choose whether I want to work or not, because I already have investments that I did when I was in my 20s, when I was in my 30s, when I was in my 40s, that are now giving me sources, or rather that are giving me income passively throughout my post-retirement year. So I can choose whether I want to work, but even if I decide not to work, I still have food, shelter, healthcare accessible to me because of the investments I made. So guys, you don't plan for retirement when you're 10 years to retirement. Okay, you start right now in your 20s, in your 30s. You want to take that seriously. Okay. The other tip that I would give young adults, 7th tip, is to actually understand taxes, how they work, and how to file taxes for yourself. Now, why is this an important topic? It is important because most of us will start investing, but do we understand taxes for investments? Okay, as long as you're making an income under the government, any government, you have to pay taxes on it. So if it is employment income, you pay PAYE. If it is investment income, you pay withholding tax. If it's treasury bills and bonds, they are taxed at a particular rate other than the infrastructural bonds. All other bills and bonds are actually taxed. You probably want to start a side gig at some point. You want to actually be able to know how to file taxes for your business. Or maybe you are in content creation like me, or you are influencing or in the social media space and you're making your money digitally. You need to understand how that impacts your taxes. Do you need to pay VAT? Do you need to pay digital service tax? Educate yourself and learn, because all this will really help you in getting to know how to calculate the real return on your investments net of tax. It will help you to know how to quote for your services, so that you can be able to include the expense of tax as you quote, either for your services or for your products. It's going to help you to not get into trouble with the government if you're running a business or a side gig or influencing, because you actually know the tax implications on what you do. Taxes are a really, really big deal that I see a lot of us ignoring. Now, there's a place of an accountant that will help you to really be able to know these things. But I've always told people, please don't pay someone to do something for you where you have zero idea like what they're doing. Because how do you know whether someone is stealing from you? How do you know whether this person is telling you the truth on the taxes you're supposed to pay and things like that? So just get a basics accounting, like a basic accounting principles class, or just a basics taxation class, just so that you can know, okay, even if I'm not the one who's filing these taxes for myself, at least I know what's happening here. So that's really, really key. Okay. The 8th tip that I would give young adults is to guard your health. Your wealth really, your health really is your wealth. Okay. Why do I say that? Most of us are literally one illness away from bankruptcy. I don't know if you have seen families disposing of all their assets, getting into real serious debt just because someone fell ill. Okay, so as a young adult, you want to prioritize your health, and these are some of the things that you can do. The most important thing is to actually get medical insurance. Okay, so it is normal, or rather it is now mandatory for us to have NHIF. So if you don't already have NHIF, it's very easy. You just have to go to the NHIF offices in your city and actually apply to get an NHIF card. It's only 500 per month if you're self-employed like myself. And if you're already employed, then I believe that your employer is already deducting you NHIF. If they're not, remember, you can always pay for yourself. And all these are details you can get from the NHIF website. Okay, so that is the bare minimum. On top of that, you also want to probably grow into investing into maybe private medical covers that can cover mostly inpatient services, because inpatient is when you're admitted. If you're in the ICU or someone who you're responsible for is in the ICU for like a week or even a month, that bill is already getting crazy. So you want to invest in medical care and you want to get medical insurance, because getting that, your insurance portfolio generally protects your savings and investments. Because if I have medical insurance, I don't have to liquidate my savings and investments to take care of a medical emergency. But if I don't have one, then that means everything I've worked hard for could go just like that, because I had not prioritized my health. On top of getting medical cover, I mean, eat right, drink your water, and mind your own business. But generally, just understand the things that you need to start doing at a young age. You really are what you take and what you consume. So you want to really pay key attention. You may not think like this is a financial strategy, but actually taking care of your health is a real flex. It's a real financial strategy, because when you're in your 40s and your 50s, your body will really be showing you everything you did to it when you were young. So pay key attention to your health. Okay. Tip number 9 for all young adults is to actually get financial advisors or financial coaches like myself to help you with long-term, or rather medium-term to long-term financial planning. On top of your emergency funds and getting out of debt, you really need to plan for the future. So what does planning for the future look like? Do you want to have a family? How do you include that in your financial plan? Planning for kids, home ownership, for instance, generating passive income in the long term, in the medium term to long term. So this, again, we already said these are not obvious things, so you don't have to actually figure it out by yourself. Every time I sit under someone who knows something I don't know, I really learn a lot, right? I've come to appreciate the fact that whether even if I'm in my 20s, 30s, 40s, I am not there's no one person that is the monopoly of all information. So every time I've invested in talking to professionals, whether that be a lawyer or a finance advisor or someone in the marriage space to talk to me about, how their journey has been, whatever it is, there's room for mentorship and there's room for coaches, okay? And financial advisors. We said that the goal is to actually prioritize education and growing myself over entertainment, because there's no better time to do that than when you're young and you're energetic and you've not made so many mistakes and you have the advantage of time, right? It's not too late for you. It's actually never too late for anyone. But again, if I'm starting retirement planning, for instance, at the age of 27, I think I'm much more advantaged than someone who's starting at the age of 50, because they really, really, really need to do a lot within that 10 to 20 year period before they retire. But me, I have 30 years to go. I have 40 years to go. And that means I can actually be able to plan without so much pressure. So take advantage of these people to help you to actually be able to do your long-term financial planning. When you get it right at a young age, you really make your journey easy. And in your 40s, 50s, you're actually really starting to slow down because you already did the absolute most when you were younger. So please, the same amount of money you spend on entertainment, if you have that much money to spend on having fun, you actually have that much money to invest in yourself, in your education, in your growth, to talk to professionals to help you come up with a good budget, come up with a long-term financial plan, curate an investment and insurance portfolio that will really protect you in the long term. So really, really, really prioritize on that. Last but not least, please have fun with your money. And when I say have fun, I don't mean blow your money on fun. What I mean is really change your money mindset and what you think about cutting costs, living below your means, saving and investing. Listen, saving is not punishment. Living below your means is not punishment. Having to actually give up and sacrifice some things for the purposes of achieving your medium-term to long-term financial goals is actually not punishment. When you think of it as punishment, there is absolutely no way you will enjoy. Have fun with playing around with your budget, coming up with one. Have fun with identifying, the savings and investment options that are there. Really, really change your money mindset from this is punishment to creating a reward system. And this is how I look at it. I didn't get to buy ABC this month. Instead, I took that money and invested it into future Susan, right? And it's a reward system. I'm rewarding myself. I've been a good girl this month. I saved this much, so let me direct this money here. So we are moving from that mindset of, my God, this is punishment, to I am rewarding myself. I'm creating avenues for me to grow in the long term. So instead of saying, I am no longer enjoying myself because I'm saving, investing, that's not how to look at it, guys. I love to tell myself that because I have lived below my means, because I'm saving, I get to pay myself first. I get to pay future me. I get to retire early. I get to enjoy financial freedom and all the benefits that comes with it. I can choose whether to work or not. I can quit a toxic employer. I can travel the world. When you look at these things from the perspective of these are the rewards I will get, you actually really start enjoying these basic financial concepts like saving, investing, staying out of debt, budgeting and sticking to an actual budget. It is not punishment. When you look at it that way, you will actually never get to enjoy and have fun with your money. But when you look at it and from the perspective of I'm creating a reward system for myself and the future me, then you actually really enjoy doing all these things that most of us would have ideally hated to do. So I really hope that this video was helpful to you guys. In case you have any more tips, please drop them down below. I'd really love to hear what your experience with money has been as a young adult. And in case you have any questions, again, feel free to drop them down and I'm going to get some time to answer them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like it, share, and to subscribe so that you can be notified every time I do a new upload. I'll see you on the next